if you were the type of person who can always find a pen when they need one, and a working one at that, you could probably just go right ahead and skip this video. If, on the other hand, you have more notepads than you could ever possibly write in, you're in good company. Today we are decluttering office supplies and stationery, two of the greatest loves of my life. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Laura, and if you, like me, love stationery, then I have some words of hope for you. When I first tackled this category about 5 years ago, I thought it was going to be the most difficult one. I was dreading it, but it actually turned out to be one of the easiest. Welcome to day 18, can you believe it, of the Declutter Challenge, clutter-free in 5, where we get big results from small spaces and all in just 5 minutes. Be sure that you are subscribed so you're not missing out, and also if you just want to support me, I would really like that. Thank you. Now, because stationery tends to spread throughout your house, and because I want to try and keep these videos fresh, I don't want to be giving you the same advice over and over again, I want to give you various examples of tasks that you could complete in this category in just 5 minutes. So we are going to look at 3 of probably the biggest offenders when it comes to office supplies and stationery. But first, very briefly, let me remind you that just because something is useful, which stationery and office supplies are, doesn't mean that you have to or that you will use it. Under normal, everyday circumstances, how long would it actually take you to use up your stash? And would someone else get more use out of it? Because these things are so tiny, it's so easy to accumulate a lot of them. Years ago, when I was first starting out on my legal career, like a long time ago, I bought myself, in a stationery buying frenzy, a tub of 200 paper clips. I don't know what I was thinking. I eventually decluttered them, but I never used them. I already had some paper clips. I already had different types of paper clips. They were just completely unnecessary. And honestly, I cannot remember the last time I used a paper clip. So those 200 probably would have lasted me about 100 lifetimes. You might have lots of paper clips too. You might have a big roll of rubber bands, whatever. I think we all have one stash of something that is more than we would ever realistically use. Okay, let's dive in then, and let's follow on from this idea of usefulness. The first example task is pens or other writing implements, maybe markers. Set your timer for 5 minutes, go around your home, grab as many of them as you can, and then actually test them. You might have a whole pile of pens, but they are no good to you if they don't actually work. You might look at it and think, oh, a pen, that's useful. But if it doesn't actually work, it's not useful at all. So even things that may appear useful may not actually be. Working pens are useful. Dried up pens are not. Get rid of all of the ones that do not work. Next, then, I want you to separate out all of the pens or markers or whatever that you just do not like. The ones that were cheap or that you got free. The cheap ballpoint ones sometimes that you get. Or if you just hate writing with them, they leave blobs of ink all over the place. Maybe they smear or they skip. Maybe they're just uncomfortable to hold. I write really small, so I like to hold the pen right down at the nib. So if a pen is very bulky or something like that, it just doesn't fit well in my hand. So if there are any pens like that for some reason you just do not like, you only would use them in an emergency. I'm not sure what kind of emergency that would be, but for those pens, set all of those aside. Of the ones that are left then, you need to ask yourself realistically, again, you have to be honest with yourself, How many do you actually need? How long does it take you to use up, dry up a pen? With the ones that you are keeping, then find one location for most of them. Maybe it is your bits and bobs drawer in the kitchen, maybe it's your home office, wherever it may be. Put most of them there, wherever you access them the most frequently. You could also then put one or two around your home wherever you think you might need them. For example, you might keep most of them in your kitchen because that's where you do most of your writing, but you might keep one or two up on your nightstand if you do tend to journal at night. For me, I keep most of my pens here in my home office, but I do keep one in the kitchen for signing forms, things like that. And then I also keep one in my purse for when I'm out and about, because I don't know how many times it's happened that I'll be out and need to sign something, or somebody will ask to borrow a pen. It's just happened too many times. So now I keep one in my purse at all times. For the others then, the discards, the ones that you do not want, donate them and most office supplies and stationery to a local school. A teacher there will be very grateful because they won't have to pay for those things out of their own pocket. Years ago, I donated a whole bunch of stationery that I was getting rid of to my daughter's old school, and they were thrilled with it. For weeks afterwards, they were thanking me. It is one of the best, if not the best, donations that I have ever made. Okay, let's look at another 5-minute task that you could complete in this category, and that is printer related stuff. Do you have old ink cartridges lying around? I know how easy it is to take out the old ones, put in the new ones, and then just leave the old ones there. But a lot of places now will actually recycle or even refill those cartridges for you. So take a moment, do some research, and find one of those places. And if you actually need replacements, if you need new cartridges, go ahead and order them now. I know that might sound counterintuitive because this whole thing is about actually getting stuff out of your house, not bringing stuff in, but clutter is stuff that you do not want or need. It is about things that stand in the way of you and the life that you want to be living and the home that you want to be living in. Decluttering is not about getting rid of convenience, it is about creating convenience. So if you do need more ink cartridges and you do use them, go ahead and order them. But honestly, and I ask this as a serious question, do you even need a printer? How much space is it taking up on your home? If you've got stuff on the floor because you can't put them up on the shelf because your printer is there taking up space for the 2 times a year that you actually use it, do consider getting rid of it. How often do you really need to print something? And is it ever so urgent that you couldn't go to the local library or the local office supply store and ask them to print it for you? Yes, it will cost money, but if it costs you, say, 10 cents a sheet and you print out even 10 sheets a month, that's going to cost you $10 or €10 a year. You probably spend that much just on electricity for keeping your printer running throughout the year. And that's before we even talk about the cost of ink cartridges. Holy moly, they're expensive. So if it is taking up space, costing you money, do you really need it? Another 5-minute task you could tackle then is writing paper. I'm talking notebooks, sticky notes, notepads, those types of things, letter writing sets. Again, just ask yourself how often you use them and how long it takes you to use them up. And could you switch to a digital version? If you keep lots of those list pads for writing out grocery lists, for example, could you just use the notes or reminders app on your phone? Now, I love notebooks, as most of you will know, but the reality is that I don't write in them as much anymore. Generally, I am typing or taking digital notes. So again, even though notebooks are useful, I am not actually using them. So instead of just letting them sit around gathering dust, I would much rather, at this stage in my life, I have made my peace with it, I would much rather pass them on to someone else who can fill them with their hopes and dreams and shopping lists. Okay, so I think those are the three biggest offenders when it comes to stationery: pens, paper, and printers. Another way that you could spend your 5 minutes then, if you think that you already have a good handle on that stuff, is to consider proper storage. What are the tasks that you complete most often that require that stuff? Maybe it is paying bills, maybe it's correspondence, writing letters and postcards. Maybe it's even creating greetings cards or making scrapbooks. What kind of kit could you put together that is going to keep all your most used supplies in one area? Just make it really convenient to grab and go. Instead of having them spread everywhere and you having to go searching for them when you need them, grab yourself a box or a tub, something like that, assign a drawer, and put all of those most used supplies in there. Let's say you're old school and you still write letters. If so, I salute you, it is a lost art. But ask, what are the basic, most essential supplies that you would need to complete that task? Things like, obviously, sheets of paper, envelopes, maybe some postcards, stamps, a pen or two, and an address book, if you still use one of those. Pop all of that stuff into one location so that it is easy and ready to go when you need it. And just do that for all of the different tasks that you perform. Have your little kits all ready to go. They are going to make your life so much easier, because when you want to sit down and do that task, or you need to sit down and do that task, you are not going to be searching the house high and low, tearing the place apart, trying to find a pen, and a working pen. Is there anything more frustrating than looking for a pen, finding a pen, thinking you're done, and then it will not write, and you just scribble furiously? The amount of paper I have torn doing that. Tomorrow then I want to talk about a common dilemma, which is, how do you declutter stuff if you love it? We will be tackling crafts and hobbies, and I think the answer will surprise you. Be sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss it. Go raibh míle maith agam. Agus feici mé sibh go luath. Slán!